Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTuber Ronin, and I'd like to welcome you to the return of Live from Sparkwood in 21. I want to start off by saying hello to everyone currently joining us on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to say hello to a few people who have joined us here in the live chat. Host of Films with Friends, the creator of the 10-Word Review, Big Al Presents. Channel member, JPRPH1. Channel member, the Tired Midnight Blogger, Curtis Selby. My co-host tonight on the Mystery Movie Night podcast, Enigma Severus. Friend of the channel member Andrea Black. All right. As you know, this show chronicles the 1990s cult classic television series Twin Peaks, created by David Lynch and Mark Frost. And after the sad passing of Mr. Lynch, went on to cover his filmography as well. And tonight we have someone with us on the show who I feel has kind of taken up the mantle of continuing Twin Peaks. But before we introduce him, I'd like to introduce my regular fellow panelists here. Flappy apologist, aged boomer.
This is the year of Flappy. 2026.
Flappy 26.
This is the year of Flappy. Yes.
Indeed. Something, last call, Dark Side.
Good evening. It is 40 degrees and dark tonight in the Chicagoland area.
And of course, Troy's better half, Netters Network.
Good evening. And by the way, gentlemen, I put the link to the Cosme right in your chat, so all you have to do is pin it.
Are we actually watching something tonight?
I thought we were. No?
Are we?
I didn't have plans to do so, but thank you for doing it.
Okay, well, we have a Cosme chat, so we can, whatever.
Fair enough.
Okay.
She's so used to doing Twin Peaks episodes.
Yeah. We will be getting back to those. We will. All right.
Okay, so ignore the Cosme link.
Right.
Or not.
For the help matter.
Why not? All right. And of course, last but certainly not least, our guest tonight, the writer-director of Queen of Hearts, a Twin Peaks fan film, who's going to be joining us tonight to talk about his next project. And of course, from Obnoxious and Anonymous, Kevin Cloutier. Good evening, sir.
How's it going? Thank you for having me.
Pretty well. Going pretty well. Oh, of course, anytime. All right. Of course, as you know, I am quite a fan of Queen of Hearts. I consider the film canon, and I really have respect for people who pay attention and respect lore, the mythology of something. We see so little of that, it seems. There's nothing wrong with one wanting to go off into their own direction, but you still have to respect what comes before. And I felt that you certainly did that with Queen of Hearts, and I loved the film. I kind of like I said when we were watching it, I consider it sort of season 2.5.
It
Yeah.
it seems to hit people a few different ways. It's like there are people who just tune out within the first, let's say, 15 minutes because they're just kind of they can't handle new actors playing these roles. And then there's the people that just keep watching. And I think if you keep watching, you make it past, let's say, the hour mark, I think you're in, because I think you get invested. But you have to kind of allow yourself to get invested. But I think once you do, I think you're there for the long haul. And I think there is a payoff. I think if you make it to the ending of the film, I think you are paid off as a Twin Peaks fan that for sitting there for so long. So.
And I do think I have to, we have had at least one recasting in the canonical sense, in Donna being recast for the prequel and so forth. So I feel like as a viewer, we almost have to be intellectually honest, right? And say, look, we understand what this is. We understand it's a fan film. We understand that, you're not going to be getting back the cast, but the characters are the same, right? And a lot of the people in our audience tend to be very genre minded. So we're used to things like different TV shows and especially comic books that have different artists. It's gonna look different. The character is the same. So you just hope that the writers, and in this case yourself, respect the lore of these characters, and you clearly have.
Well, for instance, like Annie Blackburn, I remember the actress who played her in the film, Madison. She said to me, "Well, this Annie is different than the one we see in the show, but it's only because this is Annie after she's left the Black Lodge."
Good point.
You would be a changed person after that event. You know what I mean? And so she would kind of know what the stakes were. Whereas before in the show, she is the new girl in town who is trying to just kind of lay low. And she ends up getting in this whirlwind romance with the most popular person in town, Agent Cooper.
Right.
And then getting sucked into the Black Lodge and then escaping. Yeah, that will change a person. So I don't think that I think she's the same person if you were to follow it, dare I say, logically after season 2. But she's not like just little Miss Annie, who's just kind of quiet behind the diner counter.
And I do feel like any fan of David Lynch, a real fan who is willing to go and check out a fan film is going to understand that some effort has to be put in on the viewer's part. Clearly, any Lynchian project requires a degree of thought. You don't take it at face value. There's got to be that investment. So if you're not coming to it with the preparation of investing and thinking it through, I feel that's kind of on the viewer in this regard. I do remember as we were watching Queen of Hearts, it doesn't matter who plays the role. You look at Annie and you look at the trauma that she has been through, even irrespective from the Black Lodge, right? Just in her life. And you care so much about this person. So it doesn't matter to me who's playing it. I care about the character. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Also, I love the idea of, I know you guys are big genre Star Wars fans when it works, right? And so I love Annie kind of going on basically a hero's journey, going from, I don't want to be a part of this, to you are our only hope. And so by the end of the film, you're not only on her side, you want her to succeed. And then when you realize the film is heading towards, giving the message to Laura, now you know where your footing is, you know where you are in the continuity of the series, and so you're just like waiting for all the pieces to come together, and I feel like they do. So
and I feel like, going back to something that Stephen was saying, he sees this as canon, right? And it's very easy to do because it doesn't break any canon, right? It
Right.
ties together things that are already there if we've been paying attention.
Correct.
At least in my opinion, you know.
Well, like for instance, okay, if you go by, okay, first of all, I have to just say this is really funny. Somebody sent me a review from ChatGPT saying, what would Mark Frost and David Lynch say about this film? And it said that David Lynch would appreciate the effort, but he wouldn't watch it, which I agree with.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
However, it said that Mark Frost would probably be very impressed because it treats his lore seriously.
I suspect that's true.
And I mean, I have no idea if Mark Frost has ever looked at it, but I suspect if he did watch it, I think he would be very happy, considering that the whole Wyndham Earle, Agent Cooper, Caroline section is basically adapted from his brother's book, which is
Right.
My Life, My Tapes.
Right.
But okay, I'm sorry. You were saying something, and I was going to go somewhere. Oh, with Major Briggs. So, if you remember Mark Frost's book, The Secret History of Twin Peaks, I was talking with a friend last night about this actually, where I feel like that book coming out when it did was kind of a mistake. Like because it had been 25 years since Fire Walk with Me. This was the first canon thing that was to be released, and it's so dense and so overwhelming, and
true,
and it sets you up for a season 3 that doesn't happen, right? Because season 3 is its own thing,
right?
So it's almost like that book should have come out maybe after, but then again, it doesn't really matter because it's all done now, and so now you can kind of pick and choose when you want to look at things. But what's great about The Secret History is that, this is spoilers, folks, sorry, but Major Briggs is the writer of it.
Right.
He's known as the archivist in it, but he's the writer of it. And one thing he does in that book is he has written Annie out of the timeline. There's no mention of Annie Blackburn once in the book. And there's a bunch of other errors in the book as well. Like, for instance, Pete Martell plays checkers instead of chess, or Nadine's something having to do with Nadine's either maiden name or something about her eye, or I don't know, there was something in there,
right?
But there's a bunch of little things that are not correct that obviously Mark Frost would not make that kind of a mistake.
Yeah, they're intentional.
So some people have theorized like, oh, that's maybe, you know, because the timeline got messed up, but the timeline getting messed up wouldn't change you know,
a maiden name or something like that,
or Pete playing checkers or chess,
right?
So what I think is Major Briggs wrote Annie out of the timeline to throw off the doppelganger, but it would call attention to the fact that she's not there if he didn't make a bunch of other little mistakes to help cover it up.
Oh, good point.
Right. So then you get into, well, Major Briggs obviously is working with Gordon and Cooper, as we know in season 3. We know that he's been in the White Lodge from season 2 and he's left. We know that Annie's been in the Black Lodge and she's left. So to me, I felt like the natural place to start it would be Annie in the hospital getting a visit from Major Briggs saying, we need you to join us. And I've had a lot of people actually contact me after the film came out saying, to them, they feel like that's the direction. Obviously, we don't know, but they feel like that would be the direction that a 1991 season 3 probably would have gone, with Annie and Major Briggs working together. So when I was constructing the story for Queen of Hearts, which most of it was constructed already, but I had to wait until the Mark Frost books came out to figure out how would I implement them. And when I saw that Major Briggs was covering up for Annie, I thought, there it is. There's confirmation. They're working together. And that's why I firmly believe it was Major Briggs that put the Annie diary entries into the sheriff's station's bathroom, because that would allow Truman and everyone to have them, because it makes no sense for Leland Palmer to hide them. He would just rip them up or flush them or eat them or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, why would he care about? And also,
right,
Laura gave Harold Smith the diary before Annie visited her in Fire Walk with Me, so he wouldn't even have those pages.
Right. True.
Right. So I feel like because Major Briggs in season 3 is known to have been jumping around and meeting with the principal and the secretary and all this kind of stuff, that he was moving around through time and placing things so people would find things at the right time. So anyway, so I feel like Annie and Major Briggs were always working together, and I wanted that reflected in the film. And then you even see it when the new timeline gets set up at the end of Queen of Hearts, and you see that Annie and Major Briggs remember both timelines, and they give each other a little nod, because they know that things have changed, but the mission hasn't changed.
Right. And I did want to, you made me think of something that we should have probably said at the top of the show. We have now gone through, as a group on this channel, we've watched every episode of Twin Peaks. We have dug into the books. We've, there really shouldn't be any spoilers at this point. We want to revisit all of that stuff now, with the assumption that, knowing what we know now, let's analyze again. Because let's be honest, this material really lends itself. It's almost necessary that you go back and rewatch and reconsider and have discussions like this. It's the only way to really parse this out. I think that was always David Lynch's intent.
Sure. And I've been doing a season 3 rewatch last few months, and actually myself and the co-host Camcorder Cameron, we've already recorded almost all the episodes but the last one. But I've been so busy working on this Black Rose rewrite and getting things ready for the campaign that I just haven't had time to edit them. So they're sitting there waiting to be edited. I got like 10 episodes ready to go. But it's been great revisiting season 3, because I feel like, much like Kubrick films, it plays better now, almost 10 years later, than it did in 2017. I think you needed to sit with it.
Interesting, yeah.
I think you needed to watch it, take it in, sit with it, maybe leave for a while, come back in a few years, check it out again. And now, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I feel like 95%, I feel like I know what's going on. So, and that's fine. And everybody has their own interpretation, but I feel like, there is method behind the madness. It's not just craziness. And I think it all does work together. And if you guys have any questions, go ahead, test me out. So, but yeah, I love season. I liked it. I liked it and I loved it in 2017, but I really love it now.
No, I have to agree, and I'm so thankful for a fan project like yours, because there's a lot of fan films out there, and they're nice. They're nice, but this is like your next meal, in my opinion.
Hey.
It's like, I'm not going to starve to death. I'm getting Queen of Hearts, and I got another project to look forward to. Boomer, what were you going to say?
Oh, you like that they use Olivia Newton-John song at the end credits.
Well, that is true. I always am going to have a very special place in my heart for.
It's a great song.
Yes,
absolutely.
I remember being a little kid driving in my mom's car, hearing that come on the radio. And just and to get Queen of Hearts off the ground, to get it made, to have so many production issues with casting and things like that, like all films do. But I feel like it was sort of magic for it to come together. So when I did the special things, I thought there's only one song that can go here. And
absolutely.
And also, if you look at it, it's supposed to be 1989, 1990, whatever. So they wouldn't be that far removed from Olivia Newton-John's heyday, I mean, Xanadu was only 9 years old, so.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I won't get myself thrown off the panel and suggest, hey, after we go through Twin Peaks again, let's do a rewatch of Xanadu. But I'd really like to.
Kino Lorber just put out the 4K, so.
Oh, really? I hadn't heard that. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Yeah, you can pick
But
it up. I mean, that's the on sale. It's like $13. How can you go wrong?
I may have missed the best pivot point. So if we can rewind a little bit, you did mention getting ready for another project. Did you want to talk about that and let us know where you're at on that? What to look forward to?
Well, I was hoping. Okay, so I don't know. Was it a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago? Um, myself, and another filmmaker were going to do, well, we did a crowdfunding in which it would fund both this film and his film, sort of a 2-for-1.
Right.
And we thought that would be a great thing. Still think it's a great thing. However, for whatever reason, and maybe it just wasn't the right time, but I think people, believe it or not, were a little confused by this idea of this 2-for-1 thing. They didn't know really what that was, and I felt like I had described it well enough, but I don't know, people just didn't seem to latch on to it. So, the other filmmaker is working on other things, and I know that he would love to come back to it, but that's going to be on his own time and when he wants to do it. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to try one more time to get this one off the ground. And it had been, I don't know, 8 months or so since I had written the script. I had a bunch of new ideas for it, was going to just put them into the script. But then I thought, it's been so long since I wrote that draft. Why don't I just rewrite the draft with those things in it instead of just putting them in? And so that's what I've been working on, simultaneously working on building up the campaign to go live. And the crowdfunding site, which I use, which is Indiegogo, they just sold to a new company, I guess, in the fall. So it's a lot harder to get your project greenlit for them to let it be on the site. So you have to, it's not like the old days where you just write it up and then hit live. So there's a lot of work I got to put into this. So I thought I was going to get it launched late January. But now it's probably going to be February, just because it's going to take some time. But I appreciate you guys having me on anyway, because I mean, it is going to take a village to get this done, because as we know from social media algorithms, sometimes you put out a post and it does well, and sometimes you put out a post and only one person sees it.
Right.
And it's not that people are rejecting your posts. It's just that some posts just don't go out there. Like, for instance, if you put a link in your post, in your initial post, it won't get sent out to people. But if you put it as the first comment, it will. Like, it's so bizarre.
Interesting.
There's so many like weird things, and they don't tell you any of this stuff, right? You got to find out the
Right.
hard way. And what's kind of nerve-wracking about a crowdfunding campaign is you kind of have to explode out of the gate. Because if you get like a few donations here and there, and then it's been 5 days, the site kind of writes you off already.
Wow.
You kind of have to show up with like 5% or even 10% in the first 48 hours. And then they put you on the front page and check this thing out, blah, blah, blah. Otherwise they just go no, and they bury it. And then you just watch your campaign just dwindle. So
Yikes. Yeah.
and so that's hard. And let's just say that, like, well, I did take a break, obviously, and then coming back to the script to rewrite. I've been working on the script for Black Rose for over 2 years, and it started as a dare from my friend who said, "Hey, I'd love to see a continuation of Queen of Hearts," and I said, "Yeah, that's never going to happen." But then I started thinking of ideas and coming up with how I could potentially. And then I fell in love with the ideas. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm at least going to write this. And then as I was writing it, I was like, oh, this is too good to not try to make it.
Yeah.
And obviously, if Queen of Hearts is the only thing that gets made, hey, I did my best. But if this does get greenlit, if I do get a chance to make Black Rose, it will be truly something awesome, because it takes it to the next level.
So I really do feel like this audience that has been on this live from Sparkwood and 21 Twin Peaks journey with us, and boy, they've really stuck with us, because we got into some very obscure David Lynch projects, including TV series that most of them had never seen before, and called On the Air. You've probably seen it. And looking at a lot of his different movies and online projects, and seeing recurring themes, you know, and because my whole thesis going into this was, I feel like you have to understand David Lynch to fully appreciate Twin Peaks, but I do feel that the love is there for Twin Peaks, and they've stuck with us. So I think they're going to stick with us for the project going forward. So I think we need, well, you need the village, right? You need the village to all come together. And so obviously we want to hype everyone that's here on Black Rose. Did you want to talk a little bit about what you feel you can share
Sure.
to tease everyone?
Well, what I feel is helpful
Mhm.
is that I've already done this before, right? So
Right.
it's not like you're being kind and letting me come on talking about this cool project I want to do, and then I have no track record. You know I can pull this off. So it's like, because you guys obviously like Queen of Hearts. So Black Rose it's not Queen of Hearts 2, even though it's the continuation of it. It is where we last left off. We have our trio in the street. We're gonna have the war between the Black Lodge and the White Lodge. We're gonna go back and see how One-Eyed Jacks got started and how that ties in to this alternate universe that our trio are in. And it's very it never loses that Twin Peaks spirit, but the story is very fast paced, because obviously we are in some dire situations here. They are trapped in an alternate Judy universe.
Exactly. And we're going to be focusing on some characters we didn't focus on first time around, right?
Well, you have, one character that is extremely powerful, can destroy electricity with her, her vocal cords. She can take her face off. We have another character in Annie who is now can basically manipulate time and space and move all over the place. They refer to her as the Wonka Vader. And then you have Cooper, who obviously has, mastery over the Black Lodge. Now you put the three of them together as a team in an alternate Judy universe, and it's going to get wild. And again, this is a continuation of Queen of Hearts. This is not how I feel like Mark Frost and David Lynch would continue in a season 4 of Twin Peaks if they had done that. But that being said, this is really going to explore the powers of what these people can. We've never seen them all together. We've seen Cooper by himself doing his journeys. We've seen Laura do her thing. We've seen them a little bit interact, but them working together as a team, we've never seen them work together like such close proximity for an entire length of a film.
I almost felt like, because I thought about that too. When I saw them together at the end of Queen of Hearts, I kind of thought a little bit about that, and I'm like, at the risk of invoking other genres, it's like Avengers Assemble, kind of a thought, and I was like, yeah, that was sometimes part of the hero's problem throughout Twin Peaks, is you had so many people that were trying to do the right thing, but also trying to protect everyone else, keep everyone else out. I'm going to take care of this. And very heroic, sure, but maybe not necessarily the the best strategy especially in a war, right?
Well, when you're watching season 2, I don't know about you, but for me, when I was younger and it was on, I kept thinking the thing was building to a Lord of the Rings battle between
Right.
these forces. And I'm not saying that I have the budget or looking to get the budget to do that. I'm just saying that was the implication, that we were heading towards a giant war between the White Lodge and the Black Lodge. And I think season 3 pretty much cements that, because you have the fireman, aka the giant, like creating Laura Palmer, to balance out Judy, who's creating Bob. It is forces of light. Literally, Laura's taking her face off, and darkness. And so, to me, I feel like that's the natural continuation, at least in my story.
I guess I never thought about it with that fine a point, but there definitely is that correlation to Lord of the Rings. You have these godlike beings and spirits and whatnot, and the I forget what they're called, the types of beings that Gandalf was, kind of like angels or whatever on Earth, manipulating, the world of man and stuff.
The epic scene in the Two Towers when Gandalf comes over the mountain, right, and blinds all the orcs with the light. Well, that's what Laura does when she takes her face off.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. So I never really thought about it that way before. I guess I never even really thought about it during the run of the original first 2 seasons of Twin Peaks. But then during the return, and you start getting into Judy and you start getting into those aspects, at least for me, I couldn't not think of it in terms of a Lovecraftian sort of a story, and especially then as you start reading through Mark Frost's books, you're like, you've got that Montauk Project sort of element that he kind of draws on, government conspiracies and, men who stare at goats and all that kind of stuff. And you start going, this kind of is a Lovecraft story that I didn't see springing on me. And especially when you think about Lovecraft and you think about people that touch these multi-dimensional, aspects and going completely insane because of it, you're like, yep, that lends itself pretty well to a Lynchian story.
Oh yeah, and if you go to the original script of Fire Walk with Me, in the above the convenience store scene, they're talking about splitting the atoms and things like that. And so this idea of the atom bomb was always there.
Right.
There's a lot, like, if you go back and watch the season 2 finale, they've been doing these Twin Peaks tours with the cast, and I went to one of them, and it was lovely. But before the show, they played the season 2 finale on the big screen, and it was really nice. And I've seen that season 2 finale countless times, right? I mean, I've lived with it for nearly 30 years now. Right. But I was watching it again and going, oh my goodness, I never quite realized how much they set up season 3 in this episode. You have Bobby proposing to Shelley. All right. So now we're going to know they're going to get married. We have Sarah Palmer going into the diner and saying to Major Briggs, I'm in the Black Lodge with Dale Cooper. Well, that's implying that she has this frog moth connected to Judy inside of her. You have Major Briggs giving her that knowing look, which means, yes, we got to put this plan in motion with Gordon and Cooper. We have, there's Lucy and Andy, talking about how they're going to, prepare for the young outcoming baby. Everything is completely set up. And obviously the doppelgangers and that kind of thing. But because when you watch season 3, the first time you're watching it going, okay, here we are, we're in this new universe, this new world. But no, it really is just like season 2, 25 years later. It just
exactly
it just continues on. But yeah, it's I think because it was just all so new, that people felt a little like obviously off guard or off, centered from because they thought season 1 and 2 felt a certain way and Fire Walk with Me felt a certain way. But yeah, I mean, it probably is the greatest TV show ever made.
I think so. Especially, I think I said it pretty much this way. I said, think about how many episodes there are. It's not a lot. It was we say 2 seasons, but it was a season and a half. And then, when we got, the return, it's kind of a different thing. It wasn't network television. It was, a streaming thing. Again, shorter than what you'd expect for a regular season, but each episode was beefier than you would expect from a network show. Bottom line, it's not a lot of content, but there is so much there that you can watch it over and over and over again and continue to get more and more out of it. And not only that, but for us to this many decades later, still be talking about it, still revisiting it, still wanting more. I'd say that's better than the price of admission. You definitely got more than your money's worth,
I don't know if people would be talking about it still if season 3 hadn't come out. I think season 3 kind of revitalized a lot of it. And I think obviously having Fire Walk with Me reappraised with Criterion's release and, and having it on 4K. And again, I've said all the time that Fire Walk with Me is a film I really liked, loved, but I always felt was sort of a bastard child of Twin Peaks in many ways because, we're getting Al Cave rings and Blue Rose cases and all this new stuff just dropped on us in these 2 hours after 30 hours of a network show. It was just kind of like, it's way too Philip Jeffries, so much new information.
Yeah.
And then season 3 comes out and puts Fire Walk with Me into context, including with the missing pieces. And now it's like, oh, okay, Fire Walk with Me is the bridge to season 3. It's not the ending of the show. And I think I had an issue with it being the elegiac sort of epilogue to Twin Peaks. I felt like there was a lot more, and I felt like it had been cut short. And now with season 3, it's like, oh no, you can now really like and get into Fire Walk with Me because it's not the end.
I'm glad you put it that way, because I remember when I first saw Twin Peaks, and I was much, much younger, much less experienced, I took it very much at face value. And I looked at it and said, yeah, I already knew most of this just from reading Laura Palmer's diary. It's just a prequel, which is absolutely not true. I mean, there's so much more there. Especially, missing pieces and so forth. I'm glad you put it that way, because that really does help conceptualize it. And then when you start adding what's effectively a time travel element to it, it's like, okay, you can't put this in chronologic order and have it be somehow simplified. You really do have to untangle it.
Also, they're very smart because there are a few, okay, I'm going to say this in quotes, there are a few continuity errors in Fire Walk with Me, at least in the theatrical cut, and that you just can't believe that somebody on set didn't catch, right? Now, that being said, because of Cooper going back in time, you could make the case that Fire Walk with Me is already one of the multiple timelines. Because there are things that happen in Fire Walk with Me that the show kind of skirts around or says the opposite happened. So in a way, Fire Walk with Me works in like the way the Secret History of Twin Peaks works, where every incarnation of Twin Peaks is something off. Because, for instance, in season 3, Laura sees Cooper in the woods when she's with James and screams, right?
Right.
Now, in Fire Walk with Me, it's the same thing. And so people assumed, so what she screamed at was Agent Cooper in the woods. Well, that can't be true, because if that was true, then Laura Palmer never would have died. because Cooper would have always saved her. She had to die.
Good point. Mm-hmm.
So she screamed regardless. Only this time Agent Cooper was there. So
Yeah.
yeah, because obviously she never would have passed away, right? If he was always there. That's kind of the time loop sort of issue there. But I told you guys my theory on season 3, right? Where I feel like the whole thing is a loop.
Oh yeah.
Right. And that's why Dougie is so blessed, because Cooper's already done this like 10,000 times. And so he knows, bring the pie, do this and that, so Dougie's perfect every single part because Cooper knows to. It's sort of like Bill Murray in Groundhog Day, where the last day, he had everything perfect to the point where he could light the guy's cigar in the restaurant, so I think that's what's happening. And then
I've heard.
And then once Cooper comes out of the lodge and meets up with Diane, now we're in uncharted territory. Now the loop has been done. Now they're going forward to go get Laura.
Right. I've heard similar fan theories regarding, of all things, Back to the Future. Is it possible that, Marty has done this, or an iteration of Marty has done this over and over and over again so many times? And it's like, it's entirely possible. You really don't know. But
that was kind of a theme of one season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where they realized that they had been stuck in a loop, that the people in the future said, no, you've been doing this over and over and over again, and you failed, and the Earth blows up every time. And it was this weird thing where, Well,
that's why I feel like the beginning of season 3, when the fireman's like, remember, Richard and Linda, it's because like Cooper's already failed. This is his next attempt. So he's getting the pep talk from the fireman, like, you better not fuck this up.
Don't screw it up again. Just remember. Yeah.
Right. Because and one of the reasons why you can say this is because at the end of 17, when Cooper rescues Laura and she disappears in the woods, 18 then begins with him walking her again through the woods, and then she disappears. And people say, no. What it is, it's just showing us it again. And it's like, well, no, because Lynch says it's a continuous film. So you wouldn't go 17 and then 18. It just begins with, and because it's all different footage. So my feeling is 17, he loses her. Then the beginning of 18 is he's done the whole loop again, and we're right back to where we were.
Oh, wow. Interesting. Yeah.
And then he loses her again and realizes, oh my God. So just real quick, this will tie into the whole Black Rose thing. So he comes out of the lodge, meets up with Diane. They go to that 430 spot. They're like, listen, once we cross, it might be different. They cross over into this middle ground, right? They sometimes they call it the Bardo and things like that. But they go to this motel. They literally have intercourse between two worlds, which is what Fire Walk With Me talks about. This, then, once they get in the motel, it then shifts them into Judy's dimension, because when they come out, it's a different hotel. And in Judy's dimension, you lose your sense of self. So Laura's been there for 20 years now. Everyone thinks she ran away, but she didn't. Judy took her. So Laura thinks she's Carrie Page. Diane's been there for a little bit, but she's now thinking she's Linda. Cooper maintains his sense of self, but he is losing it as he goes on. And then the ending, to me, I feel like they don't cross back over. When they go to Twin Peaks, they're still in the Judy world, and that's why the Treemans are there at the house instead of Sarah Palmer. And then when Laura hears her mom's voice, it's like Carrie Page is remembering, no, I'm actually Laura Palmer, and all the memories are downloaded instantaneously, and that's when she screams and blows out the electricity.
So to give another analogy to another time travel instance, the butterfly effect, where the main character goes back, changes his own history. When he returns to where he came from, he is suddenly flooded with the memory of a whole life that he is now just catching up to him.
Yeah, because Laura is Carrie, and Carrie for 25 years has been living in this other dimension with her memories repressed, and now all of a sudden it's all back.
Right.
You know,
right.
and she's basically got two lives worth of memories downloaded at once. No wonder she's going to scream in the middle of the street. And what's interesting
I mean,
is, and
oh,
Cooper
yeah,
said, and Cooper says in the street, "What year is this? Not what year is this? Not what year is it, but what year
Yeah.
is this?"
Yeah.
So
that's a very specific way of saying it that means something very different.
Right, because he's confused because he's thinking, okay, I thought he's probably assuming they crossed back over and they didn't.
Yeah.
You know, because when him and Diane cross over, you see that with the car and the
right.
But they never cross back over with Carrie or Laura. And what's interesting about that is they go from Texas to Washington in one night, and they only stop one time at a convenience store.
Right.
That says it all right there.
Which I kind of took to mean that, kind of like another horrible analogy, I'm not sure is adequate, in video games where you have something called fast travel to get from one place to another, and you go into a place and you come out as if you've gone through a portal or something like that.
Sure.
And that kind of becomes the whole issue of the setting of Twin Peaks. It's the when and the where. And, you know, you have to not only look at a map to figure out where you are, but which map should I be looking at, and how old should the map have been that I was looking at?
I mean, Hawk's map is literally a breathing map.
Yeah.
Or a living map, he says. So it's changing daily.
Right. Right. Exactly. And that's why a character like Hawk is so important, because he isn't bound in 3 dimensions. He has a spiritual aspect that is open to more things in heaven on earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Well, he's the one that tells Cooper in season 2 about the shadow selves in the Black Lodge.
Exactly.
He knows all of this.
Exactly.
And even in season 1, he's talking about the soul with Cooper and all that. So, yeah, he's a deeply spiritual character. I wish he had more to do in season 3, to be honest, because I think as the season goes on, he kind of disappears. But I mean, I don't think there's anybody that does like a bad acting role in Twin Peaks. I think the cast is uniformly pretty amazing.
I think there was so much they were trying to put into season 3.
Mm-hmm.
I really do believe that, and maybe I'm projecting back, but I suspect that Mark and David probably knew this is our last outing. We got to do what we're going to do now. And
I don't know. Mark Frost says that him and David were starting to write season 4.
What?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I also feel like that was kind of David's style, right? What he's doing now had to take into account the past and the future as well. So he needed to know it all in his head in order to do what he was working on right now.
And like, for instance, the ending of season 3, having Cooper and Laura together in this like other dimension. Well, this is basically the ending of Fire Walk with Me, is
right.
him and her together in the Black Lodge. You know, they work well together, but they're seldom together.
Good point. All right, I've kind of been dominating the time with our guests. So if there's anyone else that wants to jump in here, well, I want to not run roughshod over Deleted Scenes channel.
And it's possible this is something that I'm forgetting, but I'm thinking of this now. So if they are in the Black Lodge together, Dale and Laura, at the end of Fire Walk with Me, where is she at the beginning of season 3? What happened in that time to her? Was she Carrie? How does she go from being in the Black Lodge with Dale to being Carrie Page? Did we ever get like a complete answer on that previous to
where
we find her in your film?
So there's 2 different ways to look at this. I can tell you my version. I do know that there are some people out there that are very well thought of in the fan community that believe that the ending of Fire Walk with Me is actually after season 3. And that's like the true ending is that Laura and Cooper are together in the lodge. Maybe as king and queen of the lodge. I don't know. But my feeling is that, look, the fireman created Laura. This is what we know now of everything, right? So the fireman creates Laura, sends her to Earth. So Bob wants to enter her, or he's going to kill her, right?
Mhm.
She's not going to allow it. So he's going to kill her. But that would completely make Judy win. So the one-armed man throws the Alcave ring into the car. She puts it on. So even though she dies, her soul goes to the Black Lodge. Because you'll see, remember in season 3, you put on the ring and everybody goes to the Black Lodge. We see that with Ray. We see that with the Tulpa Diane. So her spirit is in the lodge. So then in season 3 at the beginning, Cooper is talking with her. And then at a certain point, she's ripped out. Now she's ripped out because Cooper's been doing this loop thing. And so when Judy takes her, she's also taking her out of the lodge. And so, I mean, that's just the way I look at it. And then she takes her, because she takes her to this other dimension where she's making Laura work at a restaurant literally called Eat at Judy's. So it's like, she's enslaved her, And but what's crazy is that the fireman is more powerful than everyone in the Black Lodge, because if you remember in season 2, he shows up in the Black Lodge in the season 2 finale, so he can move between the lodges, but the Black Lodge cannot go into his world, and that's why he is a little afraid when he tells Cooper, "It's in our house now." Like somehow they found a way in with Judy.
Wow. Yeah. Oh gosh, this is good stuff. I'm so excited to be getting back into this. I really am.
It does. It kind of electrifies you, doesn't it, when you talk about it?
And I want to, I might be getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but obviously, you said you're probably looking at kicking off your next project in like February. Any chance of having you come back and talk about that so we can assist with that in any way that we can, so that
absolutely.
our audience can, contribute and, rally the troops, so to speak?
Well, it would mean a lot, because I need to get the word out there, and I don't honestly trust a lot of these algorithms, because I don't know if anybody's seen it, So
we talk about that all the time here, about how important it is that that if you're enjoying what we do here, support us however you can, but probably the best way you could support us that doesn't cost anything is sharing out these streams and telling people in your feed, on social media, your friends and family and whatnot, hey, this is a channel that I watch that I enjoy. I think you would enjoy too. Go check it out. By the same token, once the what did you say, it was Indiegogo that you were using for this?
Most likely, yes.
Whatever the crowdfund is that you're using, hey, there's this crowdfund that I either contributed to, or I'm going to contribute to, or I will when I can. But check this out. I'm fired up about this project. You're a Twin Peaks fan. I'll bet you would be too. That's really what I think it's going to take.
Also, I mean, Queen of Hearts got funded, so I know it's possible. The main hurdle.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the main hurdle I always find is people say, well, this is David Lynch and Mark Frost's thing. And I get that. However, this is how the fans continue it on, right? I mean, people make art all the time. People write stories all the time. This is just my way of doing it. And, so to me, I feel like this is the greatest honor of all, is to continue the story for the fans. It doesn't mean that you have to accept it, and you don't even have to watch it, but we should encourage people. because otherwise Twin Peaks dies if we don't continue it on in our own ways.
That's very true. And I honestly think that more than any other franchise out there, any other fan projects, intellectual property, all that kind of stuff, I do feel that David had very much this artist mindset, this interactive art concept that he would, I think in spirit, he was behind this kind of a thing. He wanted the audience to be a participant. And now this is really the only way we can continue to be a participant.
And this is, anybody who has seen Queen of Hearts will know in no way, shape, or form is this an insult to Twin Peaks or Frost Image. It is completely bowing to their altar, but at the same time still doing its own thing. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you started to say this. You can take it or leave it. You can believe that this is, the way it would have gone or not. But I just have such a hard time that what would anyone's problem with it be? What could you point to in it that you would say, no, that can't possibly be,
Well, because there's a lot of just Lynch purists who don't want to see anybody tackle it. They don't even want to see Mark Frost write another book, And to me, I just feel like this is how you honor them and their work, is to, to me, listen, I love Twin Peaks so much that like, I want to just be in that world some more.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like my film is the only way forward. I'd love to see 50 movies or 50 stories get told, and because I just love being in that world. I just want to see people take it seriously, obviously people like to have fun and do shipping things and stuff like that. But like, I love it when people take it seriously and just give me a little bit of that feeling again. And I more than anything with Twin Peaks, I love the feeling of that world.
Yeah, that's what I have always said to people. I said it to Netter when I took her with me to, or we went together, of course, to Snoqualmie for the various fests and so forth. I said, it's like we're going to Twin Peaks.
You are.
And when, yeah, exactly. In the most literal sense. And I'm forgetting who the creator was, that he got us to bring in like our high school yearbook pictures, and he put them together in a class of 89 yearbook with all the characters from Twin Peaks, Laura and Donna and all that, with all of our pictures. And I said to my wife, I'm like, see, this was our opportunity to go to high school together. We went together, we went to high school together in Twin Peaks, I totally get what you're saying. Fan-made projects about a franchise is the way the fans show their appreciation, their love for what was created, and pick up and carry the torch of what they created in the ultimate love letter. In fact, I would say this was something that I saw some people having a difficult time with in the return, and that was you had a lot. At the end of every episode, you had that book, not Bookhouse, the Roadhouse. And you had these characters that you had no idea who they were, talking about other characters you had no idea who they were, seemed to be completely detached from anything. And as we were doing the watch parties here, and I was talking about it, I said, it's because there's a lot of people in Twin Peaks that we don't otherwise see. And they have stories going on too. And you can take them or leave them. They may or may not have anything to do with the stories that we're following.
But they kind of do as well, because when I've been doing my rewatch, I've been writing down everybody's names. And at one point, Charlie, who's the guy talking with Audrey all the time, he makes a phone call to a character, and one of those characters is in the bar.
Right.
So there are there are little connections, but like, my God, there's so many names in season 3.
Yeah. But what's important about that is, Twin Peaks isn't that big a town. It's not Chicago, right? It's not,
Well, the
San
sign says
Francisco.
50. The sign says 50,000, right? So
right. So everybody's life touches everybody else's more in a small town than in a big city.
Sure.
So there's these, and I think that's part of the story. They're saying Laura's death and all the things around it touched so many people.
Mm-hmm.
This is more about Twin Peaks as a town than it is about any one or subset of the town.
Well, and if you go by season 3, Twin Peaks isn't just a town; it's an entire mind. It's now an entire mind state, because we're going worldwide in season 3. We're going to Paris. We're going to South Dakota. We're going to Vegas. We're everywhere. So now Twin Peaks. It's almost like because the doppelganger's been out for so long that the Black Lodge has seeped into the world.
Right.
And I feel like that is what Mark Frost and David Lynch are using as this is why the world sucks right now, because the Black Lodge has taken over the world.
Yeah, that seems pretty fair to me. So yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's why. I mean, it kind of climaxes with Bobby looking directly into the camera with that face of his when he's looking at the zombie girl in the car, but he's really looking at us like, do you believe this shit?
Yeah,
but that's the world.
Well, and
I made a joke last time I was in an evacuation center. I played a clip. This is what it was like: the woman screaming and honking the horn, and then the druggie. That's what it's like in situations.
We get the same thing from David himself when he's doing his dream sequence, and he's talking about the dreamer who lives within the dream, and he turns and he looks right into the camera. Who is the dreamer? And he turns and looks at us.
But is there any better moment turn meme that kind of represents the world we live in than David Lynch going, "What the hell?"
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Yeah, no, excellent point. Okay, I think I've said my piece. I've picked your brain as much as I can. Deleted, take it away.
Oh, I do want to say though, so I've had the Queen of Hearts poster now signed by 3 people: Cheryl Lee, Kyle MacLachlan, and Heather Graham. And
excellent.
I figured they're the 3 at the end of the film, right? It's the characters. So I thought those would be the 3 I would get on it. And Cheryl Lee was like, "Oh wow, this is really cool." Kyle picked my brain for like 7 minutes about it. He knew exactly who the characters were. He's like, "You made a film about Annie and Caroline?" I was like, "You remember season 2?" Because they all pretend that they don't watch it, care about it, whatever. So I'm like, so he knew exactly what I was talking about. And then Heather Graham said to the guy who got the autograph for me, Joe, she said, "Well, how come they didn't reach out to my manager? I would have loved to have looked at this." And I'm thinking, what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, first of all, none of your publicists and managers would have even let me through 3 of them to get you.
Right. Well, that reminds me of I don't know if you know who Doug Bradley is. He played the Pinhead. Okay. You're right, exactly.
Or, I'm sorry, lead Cenobite.
Hell Priest. He's the Hell Priest, yes.
Sure.
There was a fan film that it was one of those fan films where it was somebody who had actually worked on the previous movie and whatnot, and it was a non-profit. You know how it is, non-profit. He wasn't making anything out of it. It was a labor of love, and he cast. I can't remember if he played the role himself or whatever. Let's just say it was clearly a labor of love. It was definitely better than some of the movies that got made. Doug Bradley found out about it, and he was upset that they didn't come to him. They're like, "It's a fan film. It wasn't like anything real." He goes, "I was interested. I would have done it. We didn't know. We didn't mean to slight you."
I once talked with Doug Bradley Well, I've met him a few times at conventions and stuff, but I once talked to him about why in Hellraiser 1 and 2 his voice sounds so general and godlike, and then season 3 or sorry, Hellraiser 3, he's basically like, "Give me back the box, girl." You know, he's just like talking.
Yeah.
And he says that that because it was New World Pictures who made 1 and 2, they had the audio settings, and Dimension didn't care, didn't ask about them, so they didn't know how to pitch his voice, and that's why he never sounds like Pinhead again.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, there's a lot of inconsistency.
Yeah, but I mean, when you watch 1 and 2, I mean, he's like, that's why Pinhead took off, because he looked and sounded like a god. You know?
Right.
So,
tear your soul apart.
Oh yeah.
You get chills when you hear some of those line readings.
It drives me up the wall when people compare him to Freddy and Jason. It's like, no. This isn't just some slasher. This is like a true demon who's got rules that he follows, and you know, he's not just out to kill him.
And he wasn't supposed to be the villain. From what I understand, Julia was supposed to be the villain throughout the series.
I feel like she was.
Yes, but she didn't come back for 3. And so they turned Pinhead into the main person. But he was always supposed to be on the outskirts looking in, that came in and maneuvered pieces around, not...
Thank you so much, Six. That's so sweet of you.
I always figured he was on the same level as like the tall man from Phantasm. Like, of course, that's another interdimensional being, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Which is why we're not completely off topic here. We are talking because honestly, no. Seriously, I was talking about the Lovecraftian element, and you know, Judy and Bob and all of them, not too dissimilar from the Cenobites. You know,
well, I'll take it a step further. Look at Laura Palmer's house exterior, and look at Nancy Thompson's house exterior in Nightmare on Elm Street. It's almost the same.
Damn.
May I ask a question though? With Bob out of the picture, so to speak, or maybe not, but if he's out of the picture, who's the next big bad? Is there one, or is it something I can't even imagine? I don't know.
It's still Judy.
It's Judy.
You think Judy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think that Bob is destroyed. I think he was just let loose from that ball.
Yes, I remember the ball.
I mean, if you want to think of it in terms of like D&D, right? You when you vanquish a demon, you don't kill him. You just send him back to his realm where he's got to regroup. So, you know.
Well, I mean, maybe Freddy took him out because, you know, you're not going to recast Frank Silva, but
right.
at the same time, you could make the case that just sent him back to another realm.
Right.
I mean, after he left Leland, he, you know, apparently became an owl for a while. So,
which isn't what it seems exactly.
There you go.
All right. So there you go. I think I got a lot to think about in the next week before we get back into watching these episodes again.
Well, let me ask you this real quick before you wrap it up. So I appreciate what you all have said about Queen of Hearts. It really means the world to me, because I feel like you guys obviously understand it. And I know that I know your words are authentic because just the way you convey them. And I think it's, I don't know. It makes me happy because I feel like I did it right, you know, because it's not easy to do this, because obviously Twin Peaks means a tremendous amount to a lot of people. So it's, you know, it's, you know, so for me to say, not only do I want to make a continuation of Queen of Hearts, but now Queen of Hearts has this reception. It's like, obviously, if I want to do this, it must be really good. Otherwise, why would I want to destroy that legacy?
I understand. Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. But I'm definitely excited about it. I'm I can't wait to get my marching orders come February and see what we can do to help you out.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm trying to get everything together, and it's a long process, let me tell you. But I feel it'll be worth it in the grand scheme of things. And yeah, I loved watching your watch-alongs.
Oh, you were lurking?
No, I think I watched them after the fact.
Okay. Well,
But anyway.
certainly you do certainly have your own copies to watch along. You don't have to watch with us live.
No, but I wanted to hear what you guys said, and it was really great. Like, just not that you guys were pessimistic or anything like that, but it was kind of like, okay, let's start this thing. And then you would see by the time you guys got to Act 3, you're like, oh, something's happening here. I can't wait till next week. So.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Exactly
And
right.
What was fun about that was that was my first time watching season 3.
Right.
So you were, in those episodes, you are getting my live reaction, which was oftentimes, what the fuck just happened? Why is Richard Chamberlain here? No, don't get me wrong. I'm glad you're here, but why? And I was so, because my thing was, and I think one of the reasons why I like Queen of Hearts so much was I was expecting season 3 to be very Annie centric.
Right.
Because I was at that point referring to her as a Time Lord, but and she's not in season 3 at all. No. So it was like, okay, I had to completely change my way of thinking and looking at it, kind of on the fly. I had this whole idea in my head of where season 3 was going to go, and then it's like, okay, well, you've taken the main piece off of the board. You've taken the queen off the board. Mm-hmm. So where do we go from here? And it was kind of like going back to square one, deciphering it all over again. Mm-hmm. So I think the best part of our upcoming rewatch is going to be when we get once again to those season 3 episodes and seeing all of the clues that have been laid out, because now I'm sure they're there. I've just got to go back and find them, and I think that's going to be the fun part of the rewatch this year.
Now, like I said to you guys before, like I came up with the idea of Queen of Hearts like around late 92, 93. Uh-huh. But my story was just Cooper and Caroline and Annie, and then it would cut back and forth until they saw each other in the lodge, and then Annie would give the message to Laura, and I figured that would kind of be the ending of the film. So what was kind of nice, because I never made it then, was to have season 3 and have the books and all that. So I was able to incorporate all that material into it and not only tell my story, but then explain why Annie's not in season 3, why she's not in the books, why, this and that. So it was nice to be able to incorporate all of that material so that when you watch Queen of Hearts, especially if you watch it after season 3, it does kind of feel like an epilogue in a way. It's fan made, but it does, if you, like I said, if you want to just be in that world just a little bit longer, it will pay off if you try it out.
Yep.
Sure.
Cool.
All right. Well, we do have a certain series about a certain detective and a certain deerskin cap that we got to get to. So I think we are going to go ahead and wrap this up here. Right, Cameron, aside from Black Rose, what specifically do you have coming up on your channel?
Well, I will be doing I've been doing a lot of like shorter, small videos, just kind of like random thoughts about things. So I've been doing that, interviewing some authors, and then I'll be returning back to the season 3 rewatch, and then also doing the Black Rose campaign when that kicks into gears. So there are going to be a lot of things happening. I've had to take kind of a break just because I've been writing and trying to get things off the ground. So, but I think things are going to start moving pretty fast when everything starts kicking up. And also, in a few weeks, it is going to be the 1-year anniversary of David Lynch's passing and his birthday. I'm going down to LA for the big celebration. I don't know. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of cast members there. They've already announced Leo Johnson's going to be there, and the Giant, and a bunch of other people. But apparently, there's going to be more. I don't know who's going to be there. So I was like, I had friends saying, you really should come down. And after the third time they tell you that, you kind of go, maybe I should come down. So
yeah,
and yeah, I feel like it'll be good mojo for the project anyway, just to kind of be around that kind of vibe. So
cool.
So make sure to sub if you guys haven't already. If you guys haven't subbed.
Right. The link to Cameron's channel is in the description below, so make sure that you do that.
So, and Geek Flag says, "Don't get all mushy." Sorry, every once in a while I have to, just because, while the film and myself and my channel has a lot of support, I've also at times dealt with, people who push back and are, that kind of thing. So, or say horrible things about you. So it means a lot when people are kind. That's all.
We try.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So, Boomer, what do you have coming up?
Well, I will be on a certain somebody's stream, Last Call, with Troy Pacelli this Friday. We'll be having a celebration. And then Sunday, back to Geeky Geezers, where we're going to be discussing a new innovation on Legos, apparently. So that'll be exciting. So, yeah, tune in.
Right. Netter.
Oh, let's see. Well, of course, I'm going to be co-hosting with Troy on that certain detective show right after this. And if you stay on my channel, probably on Troy's, you'll be automatically redirected to Sherlock Holmes. Let's see. Thursday, we will be celebrating on Thursday Things, Troy's birthday, where he will be 55. So we'll be talking about that and how he feels about being a double-digit number. Yeah,
I honestly did not mean to co-opt this entire stream. I didn't mean it to be all about me.
It's all Troy all the time.
Yeah.
Let's see, and then Saturday we'll be watching a movie about a cosplay that I do whenever we go to Metropolis, Green Lantern.
Yep.
And of course, I like Ryan Reynolds, so yeah, I know some people don't, but I like Ryan Reynolds, so I hope that you will all enjoy the Green Lantern with me.
Yep.
Are you watching the theatrical or extended cut?
The theatrical,
okay.
Because I got it when it first came out, and I never did go back to get another version. So,
okay.
Do you feel that the extended version is better?
I think that any movie like that needs a few more minutes.
Okay.
And
I agree. I felt I just felt like they tried to squeeze way too much into one movie.
Yeah. Well, the director of that movie did GoldenEye and Casino Royale, so it's there's got to be some good in it, right?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly right.
All right. And okay, who have we not gotten to? Troy.
Yep. Right after this, I'm going to be hosting the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, the Granada series this week. The Greek Interpreter, and then on Friday, I'm going to continue my birthday celebration. You can come celebrate with me. watch me get drunk on stream as usual, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. I think we'll have a lot of fun on Friday, and there you go.
All right. And as for myself, let's see. I will be joining Outlaw Bill Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern for Action Theater. Film to be determined. Later on that night at 11 p.m., you can join me for my program, Coming Attractions. You get to find out what I am going to be up to for the next week, up to and including my appearance Friday night with Big Al Presents on his program, Films with Friends. And we are going to be watching the original Death Stalker from 1983. Sword and sandals, not necessarily epic, but we will be. That's what we're going to be watching, and yeah, so that's what I'm going to be up to. And of course, I've got a few things percolating. I still have my best and worst of 2025 videos to do. I'm going to be joined by Wilkie's Movies and Music for those shows. I'm going to have reviews coming up for Frankenstein, Train Dreams, and Shelby Oaks. So stay tuned for those. And
a lot of people don't know that Train Dreams, part of it was filmed inside Olali Park in Washington State, which is where they shot a lot of the Twin Peaks locations.
Yeah. That's some of those locations look familiar. All right. Good show. All right. So, any last words before we close it out?
I think y'all are awesome. Thank you for joining us tonight. And for those of you who missed Twin Peaks the first time around, well, you get a second chance.
That's right.
Yes.
Also, I'd just like to say that if you haven't seen Quaint Arts yet, check it out on YouTube. Give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment, because that is how YouTube realizes that people are interested, and then it'll help promote it to other fans as well.
Right.
Good point.
I do want to thank everyone who joined us on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everybody who joined us here in the live chat. I want to thank Six for the super sticker. Thank you. And as I always say at the end of every program, from HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, from the corner of Sparkwood in 21, good night, take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.